There is a day each February when the world turns red. Store windows bloom with roses. Restaurants overflow with candlelit tables. Social media floods with declarations, photographs, promises wrapped in heart-shaped filters. And somewhere in the middle of all this orchestrated romance, you sit quietly, untouched by the frenzy, watching it all unfold like a theater performance you never auditioned for. You are not broken. You are not bitter. You simply do not celebrate Valentine's Day. And that choice, that quiet refusal to participate in a cultural ritual millions embrace without question, reveals something deeper about how your mind works, about what you value, and perhaps about what you have learned that others have not yet discovered. The world assumes your absence from the celebration means something is missing in you, that you are lonely, cynical, or nursing some ancient wound. But psychology tells a different story. Research on personality traits shows that people who reject Valentine's Day often score higher in autonomy, intrinsic motivation, and emotional self-sufficiency. They do not need external validation to confirm the presence of love in their lives. If this perspective resonates, you can support the video by liking it. Think about what Valentine's Day actually demands. It asks you to compress the entire spectrum of affection into a single calendar square, to prove love through purchases, gestures choreographed by greeting card companies, to perform intimacy on schedule, as if emotion operates on the same reliable rhythm as a digital clock. For some minds, this feels natural, even comforting. But for others, it feels like a betrayal of what love actually is. Psychologists who study attachment styles have found patterns here. Those with secure attachment, particularly individuals who experienced consistent emotional presence in childhood, often feel less compelled to participate in Valentine's Day. They do not require symbolic reassurance, because their internal model of love is already stable. They trust affection without needing it displayed. Comment secure if this describes your experience. Then there are those who learned early that love is unpredictable, that it arrives without warning and disappears just as quickly. For them, Valentine's Day feels like theater, a staged moment meant to convince the audience that everything is fine. They see through the performance because they have lived behind the curtain. They know that flowers wilt, that chocolates are consumed, that the feeling marketed as eternal lasts only as long as the dopamine spike permits. There is also a philosophical component. Existentialist thinkers like Sartre argued that commodified experiences strip away authentic meaning. When love becomes a transaction, a product to be purchased and consumed, it loses the spontaneity that makes it real. Choosing not to celebrate Valentine's Day can be an act of preservation, protecting the organic nature of connection from being industrialized. You may have noticed how Valentine's Day creates a hierarchy of worth. Those in relationships are expected to participate, proving their bond through public displays. Those without partners become invisible, or worse, pitied. The holiday does not celebrate love in all its forms. It celebrates one narrow version, romantic partnership, as if that is the only connection worth honoring. Type YES if this helped you understand something about yourself. Studies on consumer psychology reveal that Valentine's Day generates over $25 billion in revenue annually in the United States alone. This is not a celebration that evolved organically from human need. It is a manufactured event, shaped by marketing strategies designed to create artificial scarcity around affection. Greeting card companies in the 19th century popularized it. Chocolate corporations amplified it. Jewelry advertisers made it mandatory. The pressure you feel to participate is not cultural wisdom passed down through generations. It is commercial conditioning. And yet, the people who reject this conditioning are often the ones questioned. Friends ask if you are okay. Family members wonder if you are lonely. Romantic partners may feel insulted, as if your refusal to comply with the calendar is a rejection of them personally. But perhaps the opposite is true. Perhaps choosing not to celebrate Valentine's Day is the ultimate expression of trust in a relationship. It says that love does not need a designated day to prove itself, that intimacy exists independent of external validation. There is a certain kind of person who sees through systems, who notices when behavior is being directed rather than chosen, who feels the invisible pressure of conformity and steps quietly aside. These individuals are not rebels in the dramatic sense. They are observers. They watch the crowd move in one direction and feel no compulsion to follow. Psychological research on nonconformity links this trait to higher creativity, critical thinking, and a stronger internal locus of control. If someone you know might benefit from this, feel free to share it. For some, the rejection of Valentine's Day is rooted in grief. They have lost someone who made February 14 feel warm. Now the day only highlights absence. Roses remind them of funerals. Chocolates taste like dust. The world celebrates while they quietly mourn, and participation feels like betrayal of what was real. This is not bitterness. This is fidelity to memory. Others simply prefer love expressed in the ordinary. A Tuesday morning when someone makes coffee without being asked. A Saturday afternoon spent in comfortable silence. The small, unremarkable moments that never make it into advertisements but carry the weight of true intimacy. These individuals understand that love is not a highlight reel. It is the accumulation of tiny gestures that no camera ever captures. Then there are those who have learned that solitude is not loneliness, who have built rich internal worlds where companionship comes from ideas, creativity, work that matters. They do not need romantic validation because they have found meaning elsewhere. Psychologists call this self-actualization, the ability to derive fulfillment from within rather than through external relationships. These people are not avoiding connection. They are simply not dependent on it. If this gave you clarity, comment clarity below. There is also the matter of emotional honesty. Valentine's Day often forces people to perform feelings they do not genuinely have, to buy gifts out of obligation rather than desire, to smile through dinners that feel more like auditions than celebrations. For those who value authenticity above social convention, this performance becomes unbearable. They would rather express nothing than express something false. Studies on emotional labor show that forced expressions of affection can create psychological strain, leading to what researchers call relational fatigue. When love becomes a duty, it stops feeling like love. It becomes another task on an endless list, another expectation to meet, another way to fail if the performance is not convincing enough. You might have felt this. The pressure to be grateful, romantic, present, all on command. And perhaps you decided that the healthiest response was simply to opt out, to remove yourself from a game where the rules were written by people who profit from your participation. This is not avoidance. This is discernment. The people who do not celebrate Valentine's Day are not missing something. They are protecting something. They are preserving the quiet, private nature of affection from being reduced to a spectacle. They understand that love does not need an audience, that intimacy is not improved by being witnessed, that the most meaningful connections often happen in silence, away from cameras and hashtags and curated displays of happiness. So if you find yourself unmoved by the red hearts, untouched by the marketing, unbothered by the cultural expectation to participate, know this: your refusal is not a flaw, it is clarity. You see through the performance, you value substance over symbol. You trust love enough not to need it, proven on schedule. If you found value in this perspective, like the video to help it reach others navigating the same quiet resistance. And here is a question worth considering. What does love look like when no one is watching? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If this kind of deep psychological exploration resonates with you, subscribe to The Watching Self for more reflective insights into the hidden patterns of human behavior.